This is the kind of power station that makes you stop treating outages and trips like a guessing game. I charged it up, tossed it in the car, and it has been the easiest way I have found to keep my real stuff running without thinking too hard about it. This is the EcoFlow River 3 portable power station, and it sits in that sweet spot between a tiny phone battery bank and those big, heavy home backup boxes. I see it as the right fit for someone like me who camps, works from a laptop, has a router that cannot go down, or just wants a simple backup for short power cuts. It is also a strong option if you live in an apartment and you cannot exactly wheel a gas generator onto the balcony. It is portable power that feels practical instead of complicated. The first thing I noticed when I picked it up is how compact it is. It has this clean black body that looks understated, and it feels solid in the hand without feeling like a brick. The built-in handle is genuinely comfortable, and that matters more than people think, because you end up moving this thing a lot. I have carried it from my trunk to a campsite table, from a closet to my desk during a storm warning, and from room to room when I was testing what it could handle. It does not feel bulky, and it does not have weird sharp edges digging into your hand. On the front, the screen is the part I end up looking at the most. It is easy to read from a normal standing distance, and it gives me the information I actually use. I want to know how much battery is left, how many watts I am pulling, and how much time it thinks I have before it shuts off. In real life, that changes how you behave. If I see the load spike, I know I should turn something off or swap to a more efficient device. If I see I have hours left, I stop worrying. Port selection is simple in the way I like. I can plug in normal wall-style devices with the alternating current outlets. Then I have ports for my phone and tablet, plus a port that can handle a higher-powered cable for my laptop. There are also direct current options for car-style charging and gear that uses that format. What matters in day-to-day use is that I am not hunting around. Everything is laid out in a way that makes sense in low light, and the buttons have a firm press that does not feel mushy. Setup was basically nothing. I charged it, turned it on, and started using it. There is no learning curve where you feel like you need an electrical engineering degree. What I did pay attention to was charging speed, because that is where a lot of power stations get annoying. With this one, I have been able to run it down during testing and then get it back to full quickly enough that it actually fits into normal life. If I remember to plug it in while I am making dinner or packing for a trip, I am not stuck waiting overnight. Noise is another thing I did not think I would care about until I owned one. This unit stays quiet enough that I can have it in the same room while I am working, and I do not get that constant fan sound that becomes a distraction. I have also used it at night, and it did not turn into the loudest thing in the tent. That quiet behavior also makes it feel more like a home device, not like a piece of industrial equipment. Now, performance. The battery capacity is 245 watt-hours, and I am saying that number because it tells you what kind of lifestyle this supports. For me, it is not about powering a whole kitchen. It is about keeping my essentials alive. I can recharge a phone over and over, keep a laptop going through work blocks, and run small things like a lamp. During a short outage, I was able to keep my internet router and my modem running, and that was the difference between being offline and still being able to work. That is the kind of result I care about. I also tested it with a fan because that is a very real comfort item when the power goes out. A small fan is not a huge load, so the power station lasts long enough to matter. The screen made it easy to watch the draw and estimate runtime. With larger loads, you hit the limits faster, which is normal for a compact unit like this. It can push higher wattage devices using its boost feature, and I did try that with a couple of items just to see what would happen. It worked for short bursts, but I treat that mode like an emergency tool, not my default plan. If you are expecting to run heat-based appliances for long periods, you are going to want a much larger battery. One of the features I have genuinely used is the uninterruptible power supply behavior. Here is what I mean in normal life terms. I had the unit plugged into the wall, with my router powered through the station. When the power flickered in my area, my internet stayed up. It switched fast enough that my connection did not drop. That is a big deal if you work from home. if you have smart home gear that freaks out during outages, or if you just do not want to reset a router at midnight. I also use the mobile app, and I expected it to be one of those apps you install once and forget. It ended up being handy. I could check battery level and input and output without walking over to the unit. I also liked being able to tweak settings when I had it tucked behind a chair. It is not something you need every day, but when you do want it, it saves time. Let me talk about my real-world testing, because that is where this unit made the most sense. I took it on a weekend trip and used it as my charging hub. Phone, camera, batteries, wireless headphones, laptop. It cleaned up the mess of everyone fighting over car chargers. Back at home, I used it during a power interruption with my desk setup. I ran my laptop and my internet gear, and I kept a small light on. That is the kind of baseline setup that keeps you functional and calm. There are a couple of drawbacks that showed up in normal use. I do wish there were more alternating current outlets. 2 is fine, but it forces choices. If I have a lamp and a laptop plugged in, that is it, unless I add a power strip. Also, this model does not have a built-in light, and I know some people like that on emergency gear. I keep a separate flashlight anyway, but it is something to know. Durability has been reassuring so far. It is rated for dust and splashes, and I have had it around sandy gear and damp air without worrying. I have not dropped it, and I do not plan to, but it feels like it could survive the normal bumps and knocks of travel. The plastic does not feel cheap, and nothing rattles. If you want the most freedom from outlets, the solar panel option makes a lot of sense. I added solar charging to my routine, and it changes how you think about a power station. Instead of treating it like a battery you must baby, it becomes something you can refill during the day while you are doing other stuff. I like that the screen shows incoming solar power and gives an estimated time to full. It helps you decide whether you should set up in direct sun, move the or just accept a slower charge. So where do I land on the EcoFlow River 3 after actually using it? I think it is best for people who want portable backup power that is easy to carry, fast to recharge, and simple to understand. It is ideal for camping, road trips, apartment emergency kits, and work-from-home setups where keeping your internet and laptop alive is the priority. If you need to run large appliances for a long time, you should look at bigger capacity units. For what it is, this one hits a very practical balance of size, speed, and usability, and it has earned a spot in my grab-and-go gear. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with any questions or your own power station setup. Thank you for watching.